I'd like to just go for a Blizzard, but I'm not that brave. You know what? Actually, I am that brave. I'm using Regice. Wow, it's VGC Legends time once again. This is the series where I spin a wheel. I get a random legendary Pokemon. I quickly build a team around that legendary Pokemon, and I try it out on the best of one Regulation I ladder. And of course, the two reasons for which I do this are, number one, I like legendary Pokemon a lot. I really love the sense of power and mystery that they add to the Pokemon series, and so I want to give each one of them its due. And second, that I, by speed building a bunch of different teams, can try a bunch of different techs on the ladder, some good teams, some bad teams, have some fun with both, and maybe learn some things along the way. This series is currently being uploaded at 5 p.m. Atlantic Daylight Time every single day that I don't have something else planned, because there are a lot of legendaries to get through, and potentially not a lot of time. And of course, I am calling out every single time that even though we're more than halfway through the full list of legendaries in Scarlet and Violet, there's not yet been a single legendary selected from Generation 2, and at this point I'm testing whether or not one will ever be selected before everything else is gone from the wheel, if I keep mentioning this every single time. Let's see what the wheel gives us today. A couple generations are almost finished, too. It almost stopped on Gen 2. That's the closest it's been yet, I think, but it's went a couple spots past, and it looks like I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with Regice. That definitely seems like a tricky one, but let's see. Okay, Regice, one of the early Gen 3 golems. That's redundant. One of the early golems are all from Gen 3. Massive special defense stat, but not a whole lot else going on. 100 base defense and 100 base special attack used to be better than they are right now. It is an ice type, and it does get Thunderbolt as well, so why is Thunderbolt on here twice? Anyway. It does have Bolt Beam coverage, and it's slow. It's at that awkward base 50 speed that Ice Rider, Calyrex, Ursaluna, and Iron Hands are all also at. But it could play in Trick Room. Could play in Trick Room doing what, though? Like, I have an Ice type, not super strong, slow attacker. Probably want it to complement something like Ursaluna, actually. But then something like a strong electric type attacker. I mean, there's Raging Bolt, but at some point I need a restricted Pokemon in here. If I'm running a Raging Bolt Ursaluna team, why would I not use Calyrex for the ice damage? So it's hard to see much use for Regice there. I think it gets Iron Defense and Body Press. It doesn't get Iron Defense. I guess if anything in that trio wasn't going to, it is this. It does get Body Press, though, and Curse. But that's pretty silly. Charge Beam. This is also a pretty shallow move pool. Zap Cannon. It is definitely hard to find much for this to do. It gets Explosion off a base 50 attack. I think the best I've got probably is just Bolt Beam attacker, but I can't figure out still what niche I can find for that. It gets Gravity and Zap Cannon. That's a combo, I guess. It gets Thunder Wave. Is there a support Regice I can build out? The problem with Gravity is it's so slow, right? You probably would rather have Priority Gravity from Sableye or something like that. Gravity, Thunder Wave. We land our Thunder Waves, or Gravity Zap Cannon, Gravity Icy Wind. There's not really much more for it to do, though. Does it get Helping Hand? Doesn't look like it. A lot of things get Helping Hand now, but not this. Yeah, its support move pool is pretty sparse. It's basically just Gravity and some speed control options. I don't think Top Cut Explorer is worth a look here. I don't think anyone is using Regice in major tournaments. I will see if it shows up on Munch Stats, though even then I'm not confident that it will. Nope. Actually, none of that original trio does. It's just I typed in Reggie, and it's just Regidrago, Regieleki, and Regigigas, so I am on my own here. I can use it as a speed control bot. I can use a Bolt Beam attacker. I guess I can do both, because if I pick just one of those, there's still not a whole lot going on for the other two move slots. I could do like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Thunder Wave, Protect, or Icy Wind, Thunderbolt, Thunder Wave, Protect. I guess Ice Beam is fine if I have Thunder Wave. But what kind of team does that fit on? Do Gravity with Ursaluna, but I'm not going to click Earthquake next to my own Regice. I could run it on a Snow team, because it's already very specially bulky. Give it the defense boost from Snow, and it can sit on the field for a while. Of course, Snow teams are hard to use in this format, because there's a lot of Sun and Rain running around with stronger Pokemon setting them up. This might be the hardest one yet, if I'm being honest. Well, okay, Kubfu was probably the hardest one yet, or Cosmog. Maybe I'm being a little dramatic, but it is honestly really hard to find a use for this Pokemon. I could run Charge Beam. That's probably honestly the best answer, right? Regice is a Pokemon that, if it works at all, is going to do so by sitting on the field for a long time. So, Charge Beam to boost its special attack. Or I could run it with Decorate Smeargle. Regice Snow with Decorate Smeargle. In a way, this is the opposite of Heat, but in another way, it's probably a little bit too hot. But yeah, you have those defensive stats on the board already. Assault Vest Regice would be pretty funny, although honestly I don't know if it has the move pool to justify it. Like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Icy Wind, maybe a Terra Blast? With Decorate Smeargle? What possible restricted duo am I running with that? I would want to be able to get Snow up somehow. So then I need Alola Ninetales, or at least like Tornadus or something, and this is getting out of hand pretty quickly. I'm just not feeling the... Well, I mean, this could be a Trick Room team. I was gonna say I'm not feeling the Trick Room. This could be a Trick Room team. Or an Ice Rider Calyrex. Double Ice. But again, I kind of want to ban Ice Rider Calyrex from this video just because anything that I'm doing with Regice, I'm better off doing with it, right? Just about. Maybe there's some specific moment where I really need a single target special ice type attack, but for the most part, okay, Decorate Smeargle improves the offense, but then I'd almost always rather click Decorate into Calyrex instead of Regice. So, it's a little artificial, it's a little forced. Go figure, not all legendary Pokemon are viable, but I think if I'm going to use Regice on this team, I probably want to not use Ice Rider Calyrex. Unless I'm just doubling down on offensive ice types. That's an option too. I think this team needs to... Sometimes I think about common threats and how I can build my team out to deal with them, because that's just a generally good way to build. I think this team might just have to try to assert its game plan, whatever the matchup, for better or worse. Because I think I'm just not going to find a way that Regice really has a niche in this format, right? That's what we're learning. I mean, honestly, Regice... You know what? Regice might not be terrible. If there's a restricted duo that Regice can be helpful into, it's probably Miraidon and Ice Rider, because it resists the Glacial Lance and it has the special bulk to take the electric attacks. Probably not so well with Hadron Engine in place, so maybe I need terrain control. Maybe I do make this a Trick Room team with Indeedee. And, maybe Lunala? Or what? Okay, Regice gets Bolt Beam coverage. What is that bad into? I mean, it's famously not bad into very much. I don't know that this line of thinking is getting me anywhere. Alright, here's the plan. Regice Snow. We run Alola Ninetales. We run probably something like White Kyurem or Dialga with Blizzard. Regice is weak to ground, fire, fighting, steel, and rock. Dialga covers a decent amount of that. Does Palkia get Blizzard? Why would I want to use Palkia on this team? It does get Blizzard, though. How do I beat Kyogre, Groudon, and Koraidon? What Pokemon gets Snowscape? I'm not confident that Ninetales is going to fit on this team. There are some restricteds that get Snowscape. Palkia gets Snowscape. Interesting. Oh, Abomasnow is always an option, actually, to set the snow. Especially if I go in a Trick Room direction. Problem is, Abomasnow is actually faster than a lot of the Trick Room attackers right now. But Abomasnow actually could be helpful in a Kyogre and Groudon if I get the setup right. Easier said than done. Galarian Articuno can give me Snowscape and Speed Control in one Pokemon. Avalugg gets Wide Guard, which might be nice here. Chien-Pao is a fast Snowscape user. What am I doing here? Frostmoth gets Wide Guard and Tailwind, along with Snowscape. Problem is, if I'm clicking manual Snowscape, I'm already kind of in some trouble, aren't I? There's Greninja or Inteleon. Those are kind of fast. What about Iron Bundle and Miraidon? What about Snowscape, Iron Bundle, and Miraidon, and no Ninetales? Screamtail gets Snowscape. Didn't know that one. Wait. Screamtail. Wait, Screamtail is actually worth thinking about as much as anything is here because it can Encore and Disable as well. Now, if I Encore, Disable, and Snowscape, that's 3 of its move slots already gone. I only have room for 1 of Protect and Play Rough or Dazzling Gleam. But Screamtail. Of course, Smeargle also gets Snowscape, but Smeargle's not going to get a lot of chances to click moves. I think I almost see the vision with Screamtail. I think I'm just not quite there. So, does Regice really not get Calm Mind or something? Because if I make it able to set itself up, that changes things. But I think the only special attack setup it gets is Charge Beam. So Screamtail's kind of interesting. I think I'm better off with Iron Bundle and Miraidon. That gives me an actual kind of strong duo. So this team is... It's still pretty out there, but it's a little bit less out there. The problem is, again, I'm making Regice redundant, but we're just going to have to live with that. It turns out it's really hard to build a Regi team without making Regice redundant. Like, really difficult. Let's get a physical restricted. But I think I'm serious about banning Ice Rider Calyrex from this video, so... Huge contrivance, but Regice needs that kind of support. So, Zamazenta maybe. Not Koraidon because it changes the weather. There's always Duskmane Necrozma. Or Solgaleo. Or Zacian. I could do Zacian, actually. Zamazenta doesn't benefit that much from Decorate. Not that the whole team needs to be built around Decorate. Zamazenta still brings a lot to the table. But it's worth keeping that in mind. So, Zamazenta, Origin Giratina, Zacian, Solgaleo, or Duskmane Necrozma. Duskmane Necrozma would give me access to Trick Room, actually. That alone would be worth considering. Solgaleo probably gets Trick Room too, I'm not 100% certain. I think my gut is saying Zamazenta. It's kind of just the best Pokemon out of all of these. Can it complement Iron Bundle? It depends on what moves I have on Iron Bundle. Yeah. Alright. And then I'm still worried about beating... I'm still worried about weather. Also, I need to just think about how best to build out this mode around, honestly, Miraidon and Iron Bundle. I could run Iron Treads on this team, give them that complementary ground coverage. That also could pair nicely with Regice. If I want a ground type, it's probably Iron Treads. I could run Gliscor. That gets Tailwind. Iron Treads also gives me a stronger answer to opposing Miraidon, and considering that I don't have a different terrain to take away the Hadron engine, I'm not that trusting of Regice as an answer to Miraidon. Zamazenta, not a great answer to it either. Solgaleo or Necrozma wouldn't fix that really. Giratina would help, but probably not enough. So I think Iron Treads is actually pretty reasonable. It's as good as I'm gonna get. Can also maybe threaten Koraidon in some positions, although that's iffy. What does beat Koraidon in this format? Not a lot, right? That's why Koraidon is so good. I would run Fluttermane. I don't know why I would run Fluttermane on this team. Alright, let's try Iron Treads. I'm just gonna wear my brain out if I think too much more about this. Let's do, so I want speed boosting Iron Bundle for sure. I could do a booster energy. I was gonna say or a Focus Sash, but Focus Sash is gonna be on the Smeargle for sure. What do I don't have anything to click Blizzard. Actually I do, it's called Regice. Blizzard, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt. And I can either do Icy Wind or some kind of Terra Blast. Come back to it. Smeargle will have the Focus Sash. I guess I'll just do standard Decorate stuff. So Fake Out, Spore. I don't really... I have Miraidon on the team. Spore is not necessarily the most valuable thing. I'm probably bringing Miraidon to a lot of my games. I'm also not that sold on Zamazenta on this team. I kind of just picked the best physical restricted that didn't have anti-synergy and wasn't banned for plot contrivance reasons, but it doesn't have to be a physical restricted. There's just not much physical offense on this team otherwise. But I could run like Lunala or something. Lunala could actually really cook with Decorate, and also could set Trick Room. And I could run Electric Seed Lunala on this team. I don't need it on anything else. I could run Electric Seed Regice, but I'm leaning Assault Vest, double down on its best stat. Oh, it gets Ice Body. I didn't even realize. I get some recovery too. Electric Seed Regice could be good, but I think the idea of having Snow on the team is you get the defense boost that way. I could do Electric Seed Lunala. That would help into Koraidon as well. I think that's the way that I'm leaning now. Electric Seed, Terra Fairy probably. Incineroar is kind of a threat, so I could do Power Herb Meteor Beam, but I'm going to say Moongeist Beam, Moonblast, Electric Seed for the item, Wide Guard, and Trick Room. This wants to be fast. It wants a speed boost from Work Drive, so I mean, something like that will do. I can refine it if I want. I'm not a big believer in Clear Amulet Iron Treads. I've tried it in the past and found it just not very strong, so probably wants a Life Orb. And then I'm never spamming Earthquake on this team. Actually, I can like next to Lunala if I click Wide Guard with that, but I think more likely we just do like High Horsepower, Iron Head. Actually, a lot of people run Choice Band on Iron Treads, don't they? That's worth thinking about. Something like Steel Roller maybe, or Rock Slide. Maybe something like this, but I can consider a Choice Band set. Terra type. water. Miraidon, probably just going to be a Terra Fairy Choice Spec set. All the usual moves. Iron Bundle. I'm going to go Booster Energy, just because I might not always have Electric Terrain on the board. I'm going to say I want it to boost speed. If I want to fit Snowscape on the team, then I don't know, what am I dropping? I want Icy Wind for sure. I probably want Freeze Dry. I'd like to run Encore, but I think that's what I drop for Snowscape and Protect. Hope you're grateful, Regice. Terra, honestly, Ice is pretty reasonable. Smeargle could go Terra, Grass, or Ghost. I'm going to say Grass so that I can't be redirected by Rage Powder. Maybe I should say Ghost because of the Fake Out threat, because I'm not going to be fitting Protect onto this. Moody for sure. Fake Out, Spore. Oh, but I was reconsidering whether I wanted Spore. I think it's such a good move. There's not always going to be Electric Terrain up. I think we keep Spore anyway. Follow Me and Decorate. I think Smeargle probably are keeping Spore even when they run with Miraidon. And then Regice. We can go Terra Ghost on this because it won't have Protect with the Assault Vest. I don't know that Ghost Terra Blast is that valuable to this team. I don't know that it isn't, but especially when I have Lunala already. I might prefer Icy Wind. Give me that little bit more speed control. I do, again, have Lunala able to set Trick Room, but I think Trick Room is an emergency button on this team. It's not really a mode that I'm planning to use, but I have it if I need it. So I'm going to say Icy Wind. I don't think Ghost Terra Blast is that valuable here. It could be nice into opposing Lunala and Shadow Rider Calyrex. Actually, opposing Lunala is making me think twice. I have Icy Wind on Iron Bundle already. I have 2 fast Paradox Pokemon. I don't have Tailwind, though. I put Tailwind on Smeargle, but over what? Put Tailwind on Lunala, but over what? I could put Tailwind on Lunala over Trick Room. That actually is an option. But I don't think I want to. Ghost Terra Blast? You know what? We're trying silly things this video. Ghost Terra Blast it is. All right, I'm gonna figure out some EVs. Whoa, this one went on for a while, but it's Regice. What can you do? I'm gonna figure out some EV spreads and then I'll get on the ladder. All right, this is the team. I love that I deliberately banned Ice Rider Calyrex, and I still ended up with a better Ice type than Regice on the same team. I feel like that says a lot right there, but what can you do? Enough doubting. Time to get on the ladder and time for Regice to cook. I do like the Ice, Electric, Ground coverage triangle. It's come up quite a bit in this series. This person also has a Miraidon and an Iron Treads. So that's where the similarities end. They have Terrapagos. Maybe that would have been cool on this team. I think Lunala is probably better. For my team, I mean. Unfortunately, Terrapagos is a pretty good Lunala answer. And then they have Incineroar, Iron Valiant, and Sinistcha. Funny thing is, this might actually be a matchup where I want to press my Trick Room emergency button. It's also awkward because I could lead Iron Bundle and Miraidon and Icy Wind their stuff, but they could have Wide Guard with Iron Valiant. And if I don't lead Iron Bundle, but I do lead Miraidon, then they can threaten Miraidon with like a Spirit Break or something from a speed boosted Iron Valiant. I could do Iron Treads. I could do Miraidon Iron Treads lead. And Incineroar is an issue, but also we could get a lead mirror, and that would be pretty funny. So let's just do it. And I think we're gonna force the issue with Regice in this video. So I'm gonna bring Regice. That means I can only bring one of Lunala and Smeargle. I'm going to choose Smeargle. We're going to leave a restricted behind. It is a lead mirror. Let's go. Their Quark Drive activated first. That means we're speed tying because my Iron Treads is at max. I'm just going to go for it here. I'm going to make an aggressive play. we're going to live with the consequences. They switched their Miraidon out. Might have been better for me to click Volt Switch there instead of Dazzling Gleam, but I got scared. I won the speed tie. So that's their Iron Treads gone. Good lucky start to the video. We break that Terra Shell. Sinish is here. I can still Dazzling Gleam and I can attack. Actually, maybe I want to go out to Regice here. But maybe I want to do that in the Iron Tread slot. Here it is. That model looks pretty awkward. Terapagos is setting up Calm Mind. There's not a lot that I have for that, except that the Dazzling Gleam does so very much damage. Actually, it's in danger, and their Miraidon can't switch in, so they're kind of pinned. And I'd like to just go for a Blizzard, but I'm not that brave. You know what? Actually, I am that brave. I'm using Regice. They're a Stellar, so they get that health back. They get rid of the Electric Terrain. That's a pretty big deal. Yeah, they avoid getting knocked out by Dazzling Gleam. They knock out Miraidon. Let's see if this Blizzard connects. It hits both, knocks out Sinistra, does not knock out Terapagos, but that Pokemon is, once again, quite low. And they have to bring their Miraidon in here, which means they have to give a boost to my Iron Treads. And of course, they can't Terrastallize Miraidon. So I was probably going to knock out Miraidon here. Most of them don't run Protect. Some do. And I was going to attack Terapagos with Regice. Regice with the Assault Vest. That is a special defense stat of 364, and I barely invested in it. Took that Terra Starstorm very nicely. So, yeah, they forfeited. Understandably so. You know what? Regice actually looked pretty convincing in that one. We just need more of these Terapagos matchups, I guess. And here's another Terapagos. Unfortunately, it's paired with a Ho-Oh. And if I Terra Ghost, then I become immune to pre-Terra Starstorm, but weak to post-Terra Starstorm. Also over Shifu, Rillaboom, Toxapex, and Fluttermane. Ho-Oh Iron Treads lead looks pretty... Ho-Oh Iron Treads. Miraidon Iron Treads lead looks pretty strong into this, actually. The Ho-Oh could give it some trouble, depending on its Terra type. It's probably Grass, right? I think they usually run Grass. That could be troublesome. But if I leave the Smeargle behind this time, I can pivot out to Iron Bundle. I have not yet clicked to Decorate into Regice, but I don't think this is going to be the game for it. I also think... Okay, I'm at a crossroads here, because I always say the team featuring a specific legendary does not mean that I have to bring that legendary to every single game, and that's how I've played out this series so far. Regice is one of those few legendaries where I kind of feel like I have to force the issue, and if I'm not making an intentional effort to bring it to the games, then there are not many where I'm going to want to. So my gut is saying bring Lunala, it's the other restricted, it can be very helpful into some of these Pokemon like Toxapex and Fluttermane, but I think this is a force Regice every game or almost every game kind of video. And you know what? Regice put in work against the Terapagos last battle, so... You know. I'm going to Volt Switch Ho-Oh here. If it Terrastalizes into a Grass type, I get Iron Bundle in. And I think I'm just going to go for High Horsepower into Toxapex. It's not like I can be burned by Baneful Bunker. Actually, maybe I should protect Iron Treads here. Because they might... There's a good chance they target that with a Sacred Fire. Okay, they actually go out to Rillaboom. It's just as well that I didn't click High Horsepower into that slot. They did not Terrastalize Ho-Oh. It still takes a bunch from Volt Switch even after the terrain change, but Iron Bundle is not quite as nicely positioned as I wanted, so I'm actually going to go Regice here. They do Sacred Fire into Iron Treads. I'm going to target an Ice Beam into Rillaboom. I'm not going to Terra Ghost, so it can fake me out if it wants. And I'm going to switch Iron Treads back out to Miraidon. Miraidon isn't too worried about a Sacred Fire or something like a Grassy Glide. They fake out Regice, they Sacred Fire Miraidon. It crits and burns. Alright, well, not the end of the world, right? I guess here I'll go for another Ice Beam into Rillaboom and another Volt Switch into Ho-Oh. Actually, I can Ice Beam... Oh, okay. It's just... I was thinking I could Ice Beam the Ho-Oh slot, but it's just as well that I didn't. They have High Horsepower on Rillaboom. That is a known tech, I just haven't seen it in a while. That's why I didn't cover for it. But I get Freeze on the Rillaboom there. I get Iron Treads back in. They can't change the terrain immediately. I can click Rock Slide and Ice Beam Ho-Oh. There's still the chance that it terrestrializes, but I can cover for that here at least. They go Single Strike Urshifu. They switch both their Pokemon out. This Rock Slide is not doing much to anyone. Neither is the Ice Beam into that Toxapex. Urshifu is turbo dangerous now. So, I could Terra Ghost here, but it doesn't really matter to Single Strike Urshifu. They can just Wicked Blow me after that. I'm going to treat Toxapex as the obvious less threatening Pokemon here, and so I'm going to double target Urshifu with High Horsepower and Ice Beam. I don't know what kind of damage that's going to do. They switch Rillaboom back in, so they get rid of my speed boost, but Iron Treads is still faster than Urshifu, as expected. Close Combat will knock out Iron Treads. Ice Beam will knock out Urshifu, but that's the first KO I've got in this game, and I'm down to just my 2 Ice types. That's not good. Not great news for me. Rillaboom staying frozen would be helpful, but look at how healthy Ho-Oh is, and it never had to Terrasilize in this game. I'm going to Terrasilize Regice here, now that Urshifu is off the board, and we know all their Pokemon. There's not an obvious threat to Ghost types, and there is an obvious threat to Ice types. I'm going to Terrasilize Regice, Thunderbolt Ho-Oh, and I could click Snowscape here, actually, to give Regice the defense boost, because I think the whole game plan pretty much depends on Regice at this point. So I am going to do that. I don't know that it's really the best use of my resources here, but... Oh, wait. It doesn't work because I turned Regice into a Ghost type. I didn't think that through. It does still give me... It does actually give me Ice Body, though, so there is still some defensive benefit from it. Ho-Oh is still the greatest threat. I can go for a Blizzard here. The problem is I'm pretty sure Toxapex gets Wide Guard. But you know what? I haven't shown Blizzard yet. They might not click Wide Guard immediately. Oh, they Terra Grass the Ho-Oh. That's huge. It takes a bunch from Freeze Dry. They don't Wide Guard. Blizzard knocks out the Ho-Oh. I don't know why they Terrastalized now when they did so well at avoiding it up to this point. They had Ho-Oh positioned against 2 Ice types. Yes, Iron Bundle can run Hydro Pump, but most of them don't, I think. At least a lot of them don't. And I've shown Snowscape, so you know that there's some kind of pressure on my move list, right? I'm already running an unusual move that not a lot of these run. Let's get what damage I can into Toxapex. They went for priority Grassy Glide, probably. Might have been Fake Out. So if they'd thawed, that would have worked out nicely for them. That Infestation does like nothing to Regice because it resists and has massive special bulk. There's still the residual damage, and Infestation is just not strong. Here I'm actually going to protect Iron Bundle in case the Rillaboom thaws. They went Baneful Bunker anyway, so Freeze Dry was useless, but Rillaboom didn't thaw. Lucky Freeze getting me through this one, but you run an Ice-type focused team, and that's how it goes sometimes. And hey, they crit me right on, although the High Horsepower was a bigger deal. That's a nice tech. I think High Horsepower Rillaboom is probably good in Regice, but I hadn't seen it in a while. And Regice pulling through once again. I feel like I was in way rougher shape if they didn't Terrastalize the Ho-Oh. I'm not entirely sure why they did. The other thing about Ho-Oh is you can't reliably freeze... Well, you can't reliably freeze anything, but you know what I mean. If you freeze Ho-Oh, it doesn't really matter that much because there are just a handful of moves in the game that automatically thaw the user if you select them. Being hit by a Fire-type attack always thaws a Pokemon, but there's a much smaller list of Fire-type attacks, and I think Scald as well, that cause the user to thaw if you select that move, and Sacred Fire is one of those. So even if you freeze a Ho-Oh, it can... Not every player knows this mechanic, so some won't play toward it. But if you freeze a Ho-Oh, I think they all run Sacred Fire pretty much. It can thaw itself anytime it wants. But yeah, once I went Terra Grass, I don't know why they did that in that position. Maybe I'm missing something, but once I did that, the game just completely swung in my favor. And Regice just being able to sit on the field in front of special attackers. It's actually gone kind of crazy so far this video. I really talked Regice down as possibly the worst fully evolved legendary to come from the wheel so far. It is very hard to find a niche for it in this format, but it has been putting in work so far. I can't deny that. Alright, here's an Ice Rider Miraidon team. I did say that in theory this could be Regice's best restricted duo matchup. The Urshifu and Incineroar are kind of scary though. The Grimmsnarl and Landorus not so much. I think it's time for me to see if I can get a Decorate off into Regice. I think poor neglected Lunala is going to remain poor neglected. And I think Iron Bundle and Miraidon are my two Pokemon in the back. Iron Bundle can set Snowscape. It can also slow down their Pokemon like their own Miraidon with Icy Wind to create openings for my Miraidon. Maybe Iron Shreds would be a little more sound here, but you know, Iron Bundle is part of the point of the team. Okay, I'm gonna go... I mean, Regice might as well just Ice Beam Grimmsnarl. Maybe I freeze it. And given that they have Fake Out Pressure into Smeargle, I could Terrasilize Smeargle. It just doesn't feel like... No, honestly, why don't I just Terrasilize Smeargle? I want that Decorate into Regice. Oh, they switched Incineroar out to Miraidon. What if I'd Ice Beamed that slot? That would have been cool. They Spirit Break Smeargle, they don't KO. I mean, they wouldn't through the Sash anyway, but... Smeargle gets a special defense boost, but it's going to be slower than Miraidon now. I could preserve Smeargle and switch to my Miraidon, but I don't think it's worth it. I'm going to click Decorate into Regice in case I somehow actually pull this off, but just getting one Decorate is huge already. They set Light Screen with Grimmsnarl, they knock out Smeargle, they Volt Switch, there's probably Incineroar coming in to take the Ice Beam. I'm not running Clear Body Regice, so Regice can be intimidated. That actually also means that it can take a Spirit Break drop, which isn't great. I'd like to go Miraidon here, but I don't think I can in front of the Fake Out Pressure, because they can Fake Out and Spirit Break it then. So I think it's Iron Bundle instead. I'll go for an Ice Beam into Grimmsnarl, and I'm down to Protect Iron Bundle this turn. They could try to Fake it out. They could try to Fake out Regice, but I don't have Protect on Regice, as they now know, because they knocked off the Assault Vest. It's actually kind of a shame that I'm not running Clear Body Regice in this one. I'm going to Snowscape and Blizzard here. Yeah, but they can Spirit Break Regice again first and knock it down to... Whoa, Scary Face Grimmsnarl, that's cool. Knock it down to neutral special attack, or they can just Flare Blitz and almost but not quite KO. So I do knock out Grimmsnarl here. I get some more damage into Incineroar, but even with the Ice Body recovery, Regice is just about done here. The good news is, unless this is Discharge Miraidon, it's not going to be able to click Strong Electric Attack into both of my Pokemon. So, I'm just going to click Blizzard. If I'd gotten another KO, I'd be down to click Icy Wind here, because then my Miraidon would be definitely faster than their Miraidon for the rest of the game. But I think it Freeze Dry into Miraidon looking for the KO instead. They Volt Switch, or they Terra Fairy more importantly, and they Volt Switch. But they sack their Landorus to the Freeze Dry. Not quite. It survives thanks to the Light Screen. They get Miraidon back in immediately. Nice pivoting around there. And I guess here, actually, get the Booster Energy, so we get to keep the Speed Boost. Good item choice by me, I guess. Although I'm bringing my Miraidon right back in anyway. I would get the train back up. But I think here I can lock into Electro Drift, actually, into their Miraidon. And Icy Wind will knock out Landorus and lower their Miraidon speed. Nope. Specs Electro Drift doesn't KO through the Light Screen. And in the end, the Light Screen, I guess it kind of is fitting in a game where I finally went for the Decorate Regice stuff. The Light Screen was just too much for me to overcome. Fair enough. I was due for a loss with this team. We'll play until a couple more, of course. Kyogre, Indeedee, female form. Open team sheets. Mystic Water, 3 attacks Kyogre with Hydro Pump. Psychic Seed Indeedee with Imprisoned Trick Room stuff. Hey, I haven't brought my Trick Room setter to a game yet. Covert Cloak, Tornadus, pretty typical, standard. Focus Sash, Rapid Strike, Urshifu. Terra Fire Zacian, interesting. Pretty hard for Regice to deal with. And Life Orb Landorus. Okay. Their Tailwind is a real problem for me here. I think I want to lead Iron Bundle Miraidon, put out offensive pressure immediately, but maybe not because they can Tailwind on that. I could do Iron Bundle Smeargle. Fake out, attack stuff, try to remove their Tornadus. That doesn't feel good, but it feels worth a shot. I really want to leave Regice behind this time. But no, I'm forcing Regice every game this video, I've decided. I would really like to have brought Lunala to this one, though. They lead Urshifu Kyogre. That's a lot of offensive pressure immediately. It's Terra Grass Kyogre, so I can always freeze dry it. Terra Water Urshifu, so I can always freeze dry that. They both have Protect moves. They might try to avoid the fake out here. Should I decorate Iron Bundle? That seems really funny and silly. This would be an illegal nickname in a tournament, I'm pretty sure. But we're not playing a tournament. I'm going to decorate Iron Bundle. If they protect past around the fake out pressure, they didn't. But it would have been cool if that had worked out, right? Because I would immediately turn Iron Bundle into a massive offensive threat. Instead, they just get 2 KOs with Surging Strikes and Thunder, which kind of does make more sense, yeah. And I'm left with Miraidon and Regice. The good news is I can lock into Electro Drift here, and if Landorus comes in, doesn't really want to deal with Regice's Ice Stab. I mean, almost certainly I lose this game, but I do have that offensive synergy on the board for whatever I can do with it. They switch out to Indeedee. Do they protect Urshifu? Nope. They just forgot I had a Sash, even though I have their open team sheet. That's my bad. Indeedee takes like nothing from that Thunderbolt. Now they can pretty freely follow me and knock out Miraidon. Yeah. Also, this Indeedee is really hard to remove with the Psychic Seed boost. I'm down to just Regice. I still haven't used my Terra. I can Terra Ghost around the close combat, but look at how little that did to Indeedee. I can't even Ghost Terra Blast it because it's a normal type. I actually can click Blizzard here and hope that I hit both targets. In fact, I should have done that last turn. They Terra Water, I Terra Ghost. I think I just dropped Surging Strikes here, yeah. Hey, I did what I could for Regice's physical bulk, but... well, just about, but yeah, it's not enough in this game. And there we go. There's the limitation of Regice. The opponent just puts out a lot of offensive pressure, and even with all that bulk, you know, against those first 2 Terrapagos teams, it looked pretty good, but with all that bulk against a serious, aggressively offensive team, didn't hold up. Here's a Miraidon Ice Rider team. This one has Iron Hands. This one wants open team sheets. Specs Miraidon, Terra Fairy, Terra Fire, Ice Rider, Salt Vest, Terra Grass, Iron Hands, Goggles, Terra Water, Incineroar. Freeze dry that if it terrestrializes. Booster Energy, presumably Speed, Terra Fairy, pretty standard Flutter Mane, and pretty standard Wellspring Mask Ogerpon. Okay, nothing too crazy on this team, but how do I deal with it? Huh. Oh, isn't that the question? I am down to try Smeargle Regice lead again. Let's just do it. I'll bring Miraidon. And you already know I'll bring Iron Bundle. I have not gotten Lunala to a single game, and it's one of my restricted Pokemon. Ridiculous team. Oh, we've had some fun. And you know what's coming now? I'm gonna... wait, does Regice get Freeze Dry? Should I have had that instead of Ice Beam this whole time? Probably, right? I'm going to Thunderbolt this Ogerpon, and I'm going to just go straight for... actually, they could quick follow me. Can't just decorate, can I? I can hard switch to Miraidon, actually. I don't need Smeargle immediately. It's Goggles and Incineroar, too, not Rocky Helmet, so there's no chip that comes with clicking Electro Drift into it. There's flinches. Switch. Let's see. Spiky Shield on Ogerpon. Incineroar takes a lot. Kinda wish I just Electro Drifted that slot, but Volt Switch covered for more possibilities. Guess we'll go back to Smeargle. Get knocked off and knocked down to Sash. Might not get a Decorate off in this game, but let's see. Oh, I get a Speed Boost from Moody. That's sort of good, but it doesn't really help me get a Decorate. I'm just going to go for it. I can knock out the Ogerpon anyway if the Decorate goes into that. Right? It doesn't really beat either of my Pokemon in the back. They redirected the Decorate. Well, it was worth a shot. Regice takes so much from that Flare Blitz, but the good news is the Thunderbolt that I target into Incineroar goes to Ogerpon instead. Bad news is I don't have either of my other two Pokemon on the field. I mean, I think I'm about to, but that's gonna Blizzard and follow me. But yeah, Ogerpon is a threat right now. The Dazzling Gleam with Miraidon. Regice survives with that incredible special bulk. Misses the Blizzard into Miraidon. Get some chip into Ogerpon. Better than nothing. Go Iron Bundle here. Protect. I'm looking to get Miraidon in. They'll surely knock Regice out here. The Terra Fairy. That's not amazing because, well, I mean, I can still bring my Miraidon in, get the terrain back up. Actually hasn't really been a position where I've needed the booster energy on Iron Bundle, but it's fine. Terra Fairy, Dazzling Gleam, and Icy Wind for the speed advantage. I could delete the Ogerpon with Freeze Dry, but I think having speed advantage over their Miraidon is more valuable. And I should be able to knock out the Ogerpon anyway. Yeah, there's no way that's taking this. Miraidon does hold on though. Dazzling Gleam's back, knocks out my bundle. The good news is they can't switch it out, so my Miraidon is guaranteed faster. The bad news is they have Iron Hands in the back. They can click Fake Out. There's nothing I can do about that. Alright, GG. I'm not going to do the last game, just lead with the core tech this video, because I've done a couple of games already where I just led with Decorate, Smeargle, and Regice. We saw how it worked out. It wasn't great. You know what? I'm going to immediately change my mind, and I am going to play one more game with it. Because surely I don't run into an Ogerpon this time, right? Because Ogerpon was the big issue there last game. This person doesn't have Follow Me. They don't have any redirection. They do have a couple of likely fake-out users, and they also have Tailwind, but yeah, we're just going to lead Regice and Smeargle. This is the last game of the video no matter what. I'm going to bring Iron Treads because, you know, it's actually amazing into their whole team except Landorus. And I'm going to bring Miraidon to get the Treads online. This is the last game of the video. I really brought only one of my restricted Pokemon ever this whole time. We never got to see what Lunala could do. I could play one more game after this where I bring Lunala no matter what, but this is not the Lunala video, it's the Regice video. The Lunala video, I think, is coming later, right? I don't think it's been picked yet on the wheel, so it'll get its due. I'm just clicking Ice Beam into Whimsicott and Decorate here. I just realized not bringing Iron Bundle means I don't get Snowscape. If I were really trying to force the basic strategy that I started with, I'll Terrasilize Smeargle actually. Then I would bring Iron Bundle for the Snowscape, but okay, I shouldn't have Terrasilized Smeargle. I should have saved the Terra for Regice, I guess. At least I can click Follow Me. No, I can't. Smeargle's been taunted. What a roller coaster. Regice is just kind of in danger now. Not kind of, it just is. Get Smeargle out of here. Iron Treads, get rid of the taunt. Regice just drops her Body Press, yeah. Alright. Well, I'll say this for Regice. It's not good, it's not viable, but I'll say this. It had a couple of really nice games early on in the video against those Terrapagos teams where it just sat there and walled special attackers like nobody's business. And then we ran into stronger special attackers like Kyogre and Miraidon, and it was a bit of a different story. Regice is not good in this format. And the decorate stuff with Regice, just a nightmare. Because probably have Covert Cloak on Whimsicott. No use faking it out. Just a nightmare because it's just not strong enough in like any of its stats, offensive or defensive. But this series is about giving every legendary its due, and I would say I gave Regice a fair shot. And I did have fun with it. It honestly performed better than I thought. I thought I might not win a game in this video. Man, I love when Smeagol players are a wolf. Can you see that chat there? Hang on. GG EZ, thanks for the Elo rat. Okay. I'm just gonna bump that up so you can see it. What a nice opponent. Man, I love when Smeagol players are a wolf. Dude, there's a Regice on my team. What did you think this was going to be? Alright. Hey, Regice did better than I expected, and I had some fun with it. And as always, who knows what the wheel gives me next? Maybe it's something a little more viable. Maybe it's not. We'll see.